In the mid-19th century, Wall Street was a closed ecosystem designed to favor the established elite. For Black Americans, the systemic expectations were rigid. You were meant to be a laborer, a servant, or property. Yet one man moved through this district with a confidence that disrupted the entire social order. As white financiers watched from the sidewalks, Jeremiah Hamilton walked past the stock exchange as a peer, not a subordinate. He was a man of immense wealth, whose presence was so significant that many of the men watching him pass were actually his debtors. His rivals, unable to reconcile his success with his race, gave him a nickname intended to mock him, the Prince of Darkness. But what began as a slur quickly transformed into a symbol of the fear he inspired in the men who tried to compete with him. Hamilton's life was an exercise in pure financial leverage. Instead of asking for a seat at a table that rejected him, he used his capital to purchase the table itself, proving that ownership is the only power the market truly respects. Hamilton understood early on that the most valuable asset wasn't currency, it was information. After narrowly escaping an international counterfeiting ring in Haiti as a young man, he treated his brush with failure as a professional education. Upon arriving in New York, he deliberately obscured his origins, offering different versions of his birth and history depending on who was asking. By making his past a mystery, he became an unpredictable force. He realized that when his competitors couldn't categorize him, they couldn't anticipate his moves, and what the financial elite cannot understand, they often fear. His ability to remain analytical during disaster was tested in 1835, when the Great Fire of New York consumed much of the city's financial district. As businesses collapsed and property values crashed, the city's investors fell into a state of panic. Most saw only destruction and fled the chaos. Hamilton did the opposite. He moved directly toward the destruction, using his cash to acquire distressed assets and prime real estate at a fraction of their original value. He proved that fortunes are often built when others are afraid, and that mathematical opportunism is more reliable than emotional reaction. With his foundation in real estate secured, Hamilton shifted his focus toward institutional control, buying significant shares in transportation and railroad companies. He was building influence over the very same infrastructures that were often used to enforce racial exclusion, effectively buying his way into the engines of American growth. This strategy eventually brought him into a direct dispute with Cornelius Vanderbilt, one of the most powerful and ruthless men in the nation. At a time when a Black man's legal standing was fragile at best, Hamilton took the unthinkable risk of challenging Vanderbilt in court over the control of a transportation firm. Despite the overwhelming pressure and his opponent's social status, Hamilton refused to back down. He fought the case to its conclusion, and he won. The victory sent shockwaves through Wall Street. It was a demonstration that in the world of high finance, a well-drafted contract and sufficient capital could overcome even the most entrenched social hierarchy. Hamilton also mastered the art of liquidity. During the frequent, devastating financial panics that defined the 19th century economy, he maintained a distinct advantage. As you see here, when markets plummeted, credit instantly disappeared, and wealthy investors went bankrupt overnight. But while the market scrambled for survival, Hamilton remained liquid. He intentionally held massive cash reserves, waiting for the moment everyone else became desperate. This created a profound power shift. The same businessmen who publicly looked down upon him were forced to visit his office in private, seeking the loans they needed to keep their firms alive. He understood that while social respect is temporary, the person who controls the capital permanently controls the terms of the negotiation. Jeremiah Hamilton was a financial revolutionary who fought with contracts instead of swords, and with intelligence instead of armies. His nickname, the Prince of Darkness, eventually lost its sting. Through sheer resilience, he took an intended insult and transformed it into a badge of strategic dominance. His life offers a blunt lesson for the modern world. Do not allow the limitations or opinions of society to define the boundaries of your potential. Hamilton proved you do not need to be liked to be successful. When your competence and your leverage become absolute, you become impossible to ignore.